Hello, my name is Jason Lupton, and this is my Week 4 assignment for FTE 217. Today's date is November 22nd, 2025. Alright, so first we're going to start by safing and clearing our firearm. I have no live ammunition anywhere in my workspace. Magazine is dropped. The rifle is on safe. We're pointing in a safe direction. Now we are going to open the chamber. It's already open. Visually and physically inspect the chamber to ensure that there are no rounds in the chamber. We are going to go ahead and drop our bolt. The weapon is safe and clear. And now we will begin disassembly. All right, so let's talk about cleaning our AR-10. So first thing you're going to start off with is getting all of your stuff together. So we have our JAGs, we have our gun patches, we have some gun oils and cleaners, as well as some random pads. But another thing that you should be using is a chamber brush, as well as our cleaning rods, various styles. I like to use the cables for doing the barrel. With the JAGs, you have to use a rod, of course. So first thing we would do is use our carbon cleaner to basically hit our high carbon areas, especially starting with the chamber and the barrel. So according to Patrick Sweeney's Gunsmithing, the AR-15, you get the solvent in the barrel first and in the chamber, and then you move on to other components while that soaks. So let's talk about areas that need to be cleaned and lubricated. So anything that the carbon touches needs to be cleaned. That is the tail of our bolt, the gas chamber of the bolt, the gas rings, our bolt face, our extractor here, our cam pin, our firing pin. Now, Mr. Sweeney, in his book, said that you should lubricate all of these parts. Now, before, I never really lubricated my firing pin. In a way, it makes sense because the firing pin is moving inside of this area here. So we would definitely start with lubricating our firing pin, cleaning and lubricating our cam pin. It's rotating inside of the upper receiver. Lubricating our charging handle because you don't want that inside of the upper receiver. Lubricating our sliding points on our bolt carrier group. All while you're actually inspecting all of these areas, looking for any damage, carbon buildup, wear, excessive wear. I'm not sure about anybody else, but while I inspect my buffer and buffer spring, I don't really do a whole lot of lubricating on them. You may have to clean the face of your buffer periodically and inspect your buffer tube to make sure that, it's not filling up with grease and grime. So now while we have the lower here, He says that, you know, if you're out in the field and you're cleaning your weapon, then, you know, you just spray some aerosol in here, blow it out if you have access to compressed air, and then lubricate your points, such as your sear on your hammer. Put a little bit on the hammer itself because that's going to be sliding against our bolt carrier. So we would lubricate here and here. Also our slides on our bolt carrier. However, Mr. Sweeney also said in his AR-15, gunsmithing the AR-15, that if you're doing a detailed, so if you've got time, actually taking the hammer and the disconnect and the trigger out, cleaning that area real good, cleaning those components, lubricating them, and then installing them again. Makes sense in a way because you don't want to just brush the dirt and grime and everything into the trigger area. Lubricating our bolt release, our bolt catch. I do put a little lubrication on my magazine release. Usually that doesn't get real dirty, but you know, if you start to notice that it's starting to get gummed up, of course you would just take it out and clean it. I lubricate my pivot pin and my takedown pin. And then once this solvent has had time to clean, we would take our chamber brush and clean that all out. If it's really nasty, you might take a brass punch or another pick or something, a brass pick that you can clean out the chamber really well inside here. Inspecting our gas tube, cleaning that. And then after all is said and done, a light coat of oil down the barrel, a light coat of oil inside the chamber on our gas tube, inside of the track for our charging handle, inside our pivoting areas for the pivot and the takedown, checking our dust cover. These get a lot of dirt and debris on them, so we don't want to really oil that, but we would definitely clean it. So, and then I like to put a little bit of oil on my forward assist button. Now we're going to go ahead and reassemble, and then we can talk more about ammo malfunctions and operator malfunctions. So let's talk about ammunition issues quick. Things to watch out for: underpowered ammunition. So if you're hand loading, if you're using the wrong powder or not using enough, you can have under pressure issues where you'll end up with a squib load, or you can have overpressure issues where you can start blowing out primers or start blowing case heads off. That's a big one. So hand loads are usually where you're going to find the most problems. There are cheaper ammunition out there, and then there's some rifles that only like certain ammunition, or they don't like certain ammunitions. If a customer brings in an AR-10 or an LR-308 like ours, and they're only using one type of ammunition, one brand, then you would try different loads, different brands. I had a 45 that did not like the Tula ammo, did not like it at all. I've had a 9mm that didn't like the aluminum blazer ammunition. So, I mean, it all depends. Talking to your customers about a different type of ammunition is one thing that you can kind of discuss with them. There's different things that you can do to cause malfunctions. If you are riding your bolt catch or riding your safety, messing with the charging handle, all those can cause failure to feed, failure to fire, failure to chamber, failure to lock, especially like if you're riding on your charging handle, your bolt's not going to go all the way into the chamber, not allowing it to lock fully. Different things that you can do. Most of your operator-induced malfunctions are going to be because of improper grip, improper stance, or improper maintenance on the firearm. My opinion is operator-induced errors include cleaning and lubricating the firearm, and kind of what we went over today. So if you'll notice, I added a few things to my rifle that did not come standard. Knowing how the firearm operates beforehand and how it's going to operate with your accessories is crucial. So first thing I'm going to talk about is my bolt catch release. So I absolutely hate having to move my hand to catch my release. So I added this ambidextrous bolt catch, and it just goes in the trigger well. Well, the problem with that is if you're not used to it, when you're going to put your finger on the trigger, you may knock it and put a round in the chamber before you're ready. Also, I added my bipod here. And I mean, it's pretty simple and easy to use, but you need to know how it operates before you begin to use it. So these have locks to lock your legs in place. If you don't lock them while you're firing, you may end up having this pop loose and one leg goes in while you're not ready. The buttstock, I use a rifle buttstock. So the grip itself can interfere with your safe and fire selection. And that's something that you should practice with beforehand. Now, talking to customers before they purchase or have you install these accessories, you need to have a conversation with them and then have them practice using the firearm with and without those accessories until they're comfortable enough to use it out in the wild. So the final question is, should we be instructing customers on proper stance and shooting techniques? And honestly, I believe yes. In order to get other people to enjoy our sport, we have to instruct them how to do it properly. Now, there are ways to be tactful about it. So, not forcing our knowledge on people. But if somebody comes in with questions, help them out. I believe that's going to be in our favor in the long run, especially as a gunsmith. Because if you make yourself available to your customers, then they will be more appreciative. So yes. Anyways, that's all I have for this video. I hopefully covered everything that was included. So we will see you next week.